this should be what your shape looks like on your screen. This is the basic of our ornament. If yours doesn't look like this, then you probably want to go back to one of the other videos and find which steps you are missing. For right now, we are done with the geometric library, and so I'm going to go ahead and click this little triangle to collapse it. And now our library is just back to where it should have been. So the one thing that makes this process a lot easier is we're going to actually lift the work plane. Right now the work plane's on the bottom of our shape underneath it, and so there's a bunch of ways to do this. I'm just going to click right up here where it says show helper shapes. You can also do it right here at the side where it has helpers. It's the exact same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and then my work plane, I'm going to go ahead and click and drag, and I can actually stick it on this flat part of my Christmas ornament. And if it works right, you'll now see our work plane's kind of an orangish brown, and if you would rotate and zoom it around, you can actually see the work plane is now on top of our shape. That's a very important step to get done so we can start adding words and shapes to our ornament here. So I'm going to go ahead and click off to the side because we're done. And it is kind of confusing because now my shape is kind of covered up by these grids, but that's completely fine. So everything you add to this is kind of up to you. So some of the things that you can do here are in shape generators. There is a text shape generator, and I'm going to go ahead and use one of these. I'm going to click and drag it out to my top of my ornament here, and it is huge. So the two things we want to do is our height only needs to be 2 millimeters tall, and there's a few ways to do this. You can either grab this white box and shrink it down to 2, or over here at the side where it says 10 millimeters, you can actually click your mouse in there, type in the number 2, press enter, and then it sets it to be 2 millimeters tall. So it is, either way is fine. I prefer using the box method just because I can see it and I know exactly what it's doing. And then as far as what it actually says, right here where it has text, and you can also change the font, by the way, if you want to try that one. We'll try Major Snafu and Techniku. Some of these are really hard to read, so truthfully I would probably just keep it on that first one. Mine is going to say my name, so that's the one thing yours will have to say, is it should say your name on there. And then it is too big, and so again we need to use our tools to resize it. So I'm going to go ahead and click these little squares at the side and push it in. And if you need to zoom out, you can do that. You can also tuck the library away by clicking these little arrows at the side. It gives you some more room. And then I'm going to keep resizing and stretching this. And I can tell it's too tall, but it's really hard to see. So I'm going to tip this way up to the top. And I know at the top here, and again if you need to zoom, you can use 2 fingers on the touchpad. Shift and 2-finger clicking lets you drag it around. And I can see there's a little square right there. And so I want to shrink this so it is pretty short. Okay, so there's my name. I can use my arrow keys to nudge it around. If you want to be very precise, again, draw a box covering your shape and your name. Do adjust and align, and then you can line it up right here in the middle, and that will center your name perfectly on there. As far as adding more text, the easiest thing to do is to do edit and duplicate, and then use your arrow keys to nudge it down. That way it's already changed most of the size for you, most of the work's already done. So at the bottom, I don't want to say my name again. I actually want to say Christmas. And then since this is 2016 when we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and just type in 2016. Obviously, if this is not 2016, you'll have to pick the correct year. And then we'll grab these boxes at the end, shrink it in on both sides, and then all my words kind of fit on the bottom. So you don't necessarily have to have Christmas 2016 if you want to put some shapes, whatever it is. Your name would be the important piece though, so that people know that you created it. The kind of cool part is now that we have 3 things. So Mr. Horst was 1 sentence, and I really don't like the size of that one, so I'm actually going to go ahead and shrink this in a little more, just to make it a little smaller. And then once I'm all done, just because I like things lined up nice, I'm going to go ahead and draw a box covering all of my words plus my shape, do adjust and align, and then hit that center button one more time. And that just lines everything up. All 3 things are now lined up in the middle. So that's the bottom part of my ornament, and then here in just a second we will cover the top of your ornament.